Autumn arrives, and the small park near my home is once again covered with a vibrant carpet of golden leaves. But after just a few days, those leaves become dirty, damp, and start falling all over the paths, covering benches and dried grass, creating a scene that is both messy and costly to clean. Have you ever felt powerless, sweeping leaves every week, only to see them fall again in an endless, frustrating loop? One afternoon, I met Mrs. Lan, a woman over 70 years old, yet her eyes still burned with passion. She stood in the park, observing each pile of fallen leaves, taking notes, and asking herself, could these leaves become something useful instead of just waste? This simple question sparked a powerful idea, turning dry leaves into organic compost for the neighborhood, benefiting the environment and bringing the community together. Imagine this scene. Piles of leaves gradually turning into dark, rich compost, children laughing nearby, and elders carefully tending to each pile. From the nuisance of household waste, a transformative opportunity for the park and the community began to emerge. Picture yourself standing in the autumn park, surrounded by thick golden leaf carpets. Beautiful, yet heavy. You want the park to be cleaner, but gathering the leaves is time-consuming and messy. I often wondered if there was a way to turn this seemingly useless waste into something valuable, and the answer came from Mrs. Lan, a spirited, green living role model. One morning, Mrs. Lan walked me around the park, pointing to every pile of fallen leaves and said, if we can turn these leaves into compost, not only will the plants be healthier, but the community will also learn to value resources that are usually discarded. Looking at her hands, frail yet steady, I realized age is not a barrier. Passion and determination are what truly matter. Mrs. Lan launched a project called 60 Days to Turn Dry Leaves into Community Compost. At first, many neighbors were skeptical. They worried about smells, wasted time, and whether it would even work. I remember one neighbor joking, 60 days to compost leaves? Maybe it'll be done by next autumn. But Mrs. Lan didn't falter. She smiled and said, every new project takes time for people to understand. I want you to picture this. Golden leaves gathered into small piles, layered with kitchen scraps like vegetable peels and fruit skins. Mrs. Lan explained that balancing green and brown materials, nitrogen-rich and carbon-rich ingredients is crucial. Too many dry leaves slow decomposition. Too much kitchen waste makes piles soggy and smelly. The first day was chaotic. Leaves flew everywhere, and the damp, earthy smell made some hesitant. But within a few days, during a community workshop, everything began to change. Children learned how to layer leaves, young adults learned proper watering, and elders shared tips on selecting leaves that weren't too wet. The neighborhood buzzed with laughter, conversation, and pride as waste gradually became a precious resource. From a professional perspective, composting is a natural biological process where microorganisms, from bacteria to fungi, break down dry leaves and kitchen scraps into nutrients for plants. These microorganisms need moisture, airflow, and balanced nutrition. Mrs. Lan used simple compost bins effectively. Air vents allowed circulation. Layers of leaves and scraps were arranged carefully, and she monitored pile temperature weekly. A well-prepared compost pile is warm and smells like fresh earth, very different from the initial unpleasant odors. During the 60-day process, I observed each stage with Mrs. Lan. In the first week, the leaves were still dry and pale. By the second week, they softened and darkened slightly, emitting a faint earthy smell. By the third week, the community noticed that the piles were no longer just waste. Microorganisms were quietly transforming organic matter into nutrients. We even created tracking boards, recording temperature, moisture, and decomposition rates. Children enjoyed drawing playful microbes, turning composting into an engaging learning game. A friend of mine admitted that he had never imagined kitchen scraps could help plants grow. But after joining us, he learned to separate waste, vegetable peels, fruit skins, coffee grounds, dry leaves, all valuable ingredients. He even applied the method at home, reducing trash and personally fertilizing his balcony vegetable garden with compost. Interestingly, combining AI and technology made the project even more efficient. We experimented with an AI app to monitor leaf fall, predict collection times, and even identify which leaves decompose quickly and which need supplements. In the future, AI could help neighborhoods optimize composting, measuring moisture, temperature, and predicting decomposition time, making community projects easier and more effective. By the 6th week, the dry leaves had completely transformed into dark, crumbly compost, ready to nourish the park's plants. The scene was remarkable: a clean park, thriving green trees, blooming flowers, and most importantly, a community that began to recognize the value in small acts. Mrs. Lan often said, "When everyone learns to appreciate what seems like waste, the whole community changes." This story isn't just about composting. It's a living example that small, consistent actions done together can create a positive impact beyond expectations. A green corner of the park, dry leaves turning into compost, children's laughter, and the pride of elders, all together send a powerful message. We can live sustainably, use waste efficiently, and build stronger communities. Pause for a moment and imagine if everyone in your neighborhood started doing this, turning waste into resources. How much could urban landscapes change? Not just cleaner, but also educating the next generation about the environment and community spirit. And when technology like AI is applied, we can manage waste more efficiently, predict trends, optimize composting, and minimize nutrient loss. In reality, turning dry leaves and kitchen scraps into compost isn't as complicated as many think. It requires patience, basic techniques, and a willingness to learn continuously. Questions like, am I doing this correctly? Is this layer moist enough? Or should I add kitchen scraps? Become familiar. Through these questions, the community learns to solve problems together, share knowledge, and develop sustainable green habits. Mrs. Lan often tells everyone, you don't have to change the world. Just start with this small pile of leaves, your own garden, your own actions. Over the 60 days, I witnessed small yet meaningful changes. Neighbors who were once indifferent to waste became proactive in sorting. Children learned environmental responsibility through hands-on experience, and flowers bloomed as if thanking us. The story of dry leaves, compost, and community doesn't end in the park. It spreads the message of sustainable living. Everything you discard can become a resource if managed thoughtfully and patiently. And in the AI era, technology helps us work smarter, predict needs, optimize resources, and enhance the efficiency of community projects. Finally, I realized the most important thing isn't just the finished compost or the green park. It's the community spirit, unity, and sustainable mindset that each participant brings. That is the real value and the motivation to expand these actions to more neighborhoods, more cities. After 60 days, watching dry leaves transform into dark, rich compost, seeing the park clean, the trees flourish, and flowers bloom, I understood one thing. True value lies not only in the final product, but in the journey and the people who create it. When individuals recognize that household waste can become a resource, when children learn to appreciate nature, when communities work together with patience and effort, the world around us transforms positively and sustainably. Imagine if every neighborhood, every household, every person started with small actions like composting leaves, sorting kitchen waste, and caring for vegetable gardens. The impact would be enormous. And in the AI era, technology supports us to manage resources effectively, optimize time, and make sustainable living easier than ever. My message to you: don't wait. Start today. Turn waste into resources, care for plants, and build a sustainable community together. If you find this video helpful, click subscribe to the Compost channel and join us in spreading green living practices, learning effective composting methods, and transforming our environment into a cleaner, fresher place every day.